Like for example, what are the common problems that happens in the examination, right? Is that if I write a sentence like this, I agree to or I agree with, right? These are two options. I agree to or I agree with what you said this morning. What you said this morning. Agree to or agree with. These are two options which are in front of you. Now let me just give you one more example. Now look at the second one, right? I I agree to or I agree with you on the proposal. For the question number second, answer is agree with. And for the first statement, the right answer was agree to. Now you have to understand the difference between agree to and agree with. These are small things which will be tested in the examination. Fine. And if you do not know the fair difference between agree to and agree with, the chances that you can get the question incorrect. Such question will be seen in the fill in the blanks form, right? In the fill in the blanks form, or they can also give in the sentence improvement, in the sentence group, right? So look at this one. When I use the word agree to, right? So agree to is basically when you agree to something, right? If someone agrees to something, we use agree to. And when I use agree with, right, someone agrees with someone else, right, with someone else, that is called agree with. Now is it clear? So here I was actually agreeing with a person, so we have to use agree with. When you agree to something, right, what you said in this morning, so what you said is a sentence or a statement which was made by a person, right? It was a statement which was made by a person. So that's why we say agree to, right? So when you agree to something, that is called, when you're actually agreeing to a statement, right? That is called agree to. We use agree to. And whenever we agree with someone, with a person, we make use of the agree with. This what we are going to discuss in all the grammar classes, the basic mistakes that we do. One more example I would like to ask to each one of you. There are two options. One is greater than, right? And the second one is more than. These are two options, right, in front of you. Now, let me just write a sentence for all of you. The sentence goes like this. The number of people who attended, right, the party is dash 50. So here goes my answer. When I say greater than, right? When I say greater than, fine. So greater than is appropriate when you refer it to number alone. Fine. Greater than is appropriate when referring to numbers alone. This is a difference, right? And when I say more than, it is actually appropriate when you refer to the number of objects or when you are making a comparison. So if I say when referring to the number of objects, or when you are making a comparison, fine. So if you look at this one, greater than is used when you're referring to number alone. I think only number is given, right? We are going to use greater than. Fine. I'll show you the example how we are going to use more than. Let me just write it over here because space is less. Fine. I'm giving you the example of more than. I hope greater than is clear. Greater than is the correct answer, right? Greater than is the correct answer. Look at the one. I can rewrite the statement when I'm saying more than. For example, if I say more than 50 people, attended the party. So here we are saying 50 people. If it is only for the number, we are saying greater than. And here it is 50 people, we can say more than. The difference is clear between. So this is what we are going to discuss in all upcoming classes, chapter by chapter and topic by topic. I'm going to make sure that we are going to cover each and everything. So let's start with today's basic class. The first thing we are going to discuss about the sentence. So starting with a very basic one, that is what is a sentence. I would not be making you to learn the definition which is not being asked. They're not going to ask you the definition of noun, what are the kinds of noun. But still, when you're learning something, you should know, you have to be very thorough with the basic concepts of it, right? So what is a sentence? Sentence is basically when we speak or write or we make use of words, right? A group of words is called a sentence. Clear? Now, under the sentence, we have to understand what are the kinds of sentences. Fine. before I proceed, please understand the basic structure of any sentence is like this: subject plus verb plus object. This is a basic structure of any sentence: subject plus verb plus object. Now, moving further, what are the kinds of sentences? The first kind of sentence, those sentences which make statements or assertions, right? Sentences which make statements or assertions, right? Or assertions, they are known as the affirmative sentences, assertive sentences, or declarative sentences. They are known as declarative sentence. So any sentence which is making statements or declarations, they are called declarative sentence. Second one is that, let me also give you that example to make it clear. Suppose if I say that Jack sat on a wall. Jack sat on a wall. Is it just a statement? It's just a declaration. So that is an example of a declarative sentence. Second type of sentence, any statement which asks questions, right? Which asks questions, any sentence which asks questions, right, is called the interrogative sentence. So this is known as the interrogative sentence. So you know the question forms that comes in the exams in the fun. Where do you live? How are you? Right? Where do you live? So this is a question form. It is the interrogative sentence. Third one is that any statement, any sentence which is going to express command, sentences which are going to express commands, request, right, or entreaties. There's a word that is called entreaties, right? Entreaties is basically, it's a humble request. It's a humble request. I think you must have heard of the word that is called plea. Have you heard of this word that is called plea? A humble request, right? That is called entreaties. So entreaties, so if any sentence, right, any statement which is coming with a command, request, or entreaties is called this one sentence is known as the imperative sentence, right? It becomes your imperative sentence. The example for this one is that, please be quiet, please be quiet, correct? So please show mercy on us. So these are the one request, commands, and all. Go out of the room. So this is a command, right? Go out of the room. So this is a command. This is an example of imperative sentence. Now the thing is that in imperative sentences, right, the subject is missing. The subject is just removed. So please be quiet. Could you please say to whom I'm saying this statement? Who should be quiet? If I'm saying please be quiet, right, to whom I am making a statement? I may be saying to someone. So the missing subject over here is you. So we have to understand it is imperative, right? It is already implied. Go out of the room. Who should go out of the room? Thus, sometimes in the exam, when the questions which are related with subject verb agreement, right, imperative sentences are going to create a problem. So we should be very clear what are these imperative sentences. They would not be asking the types of the sentences, but they can ask you the subject verb agreement. Fine. And people who are preparing for law and IPM, make sure you really get a questions on subject verb agreement where you have to identify the subject. So this is the third type of the sentence. And the last sentence, any sentences which are going to express strong feelings, right? They are known as the exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentence. So the simple example for this one is that, what a shame. What a shame, with the exclamation. So these are sentences which are going to express strong feelings. Fine. You don't have to learn a lot about this one. Only few things are there. Clear? So types of sentences there. Now, exclamation point is necessary. We have couple of the questions which are based on the, you have to identify the subject over here. Subject identification. So there are a couple of the questions that you are supposed to practice. From question number 1 question number 10, only 10 questions. Before I proceed with this one, let me just explain you one thing about the subject and the verb and predicate. Fine. Basically, as I told you, the structure of any sentence is subject plus verb plus object. Fine. This is a basic structure. Now, there are two terms which you have to understand. One is called the subject and the second one is called predicate. Fine. So what is the subject? As I know in the sentence, subject is a doer of an action. Fine. The part of a sentence, right? which names the person or thing we are speaking about, person or thing we are speaking about, that is called the subject. Speaking about is called the subject. Fine. And what is a predicate? In this case, predicate is basically when we talk something about the subject. So the part which tells us, something about the subject is called the predicate. I'll give you an example for this one also. Fine. So look at this one. Suppose if I say that my friends are coming to meet me, right? This is an example. My friends are coming to meet me. In this sentence, my friends is my subject, are coming is my verb, right? And to meet me is my object. Clear? This is the basic structure of any sentence, subject plus verb plus object. But the thing is that when we combine our verb and object, when it is the verb and object are combined, right? They both of them are combined, it becomes your predicate. Got it, everyone? When you combine your verb and object, it becomes your predicate. So subject is basically the name of the person or thing we are speaking about. Who are coming? My friends are coming. My friends are coming, right? And the part which tells you about the predicate, right? Let me make a correction over here. It should be subject. I'm so sorry for that. The part which tells you about the subject is called the predicate. So which part is telling you about the subject is, right? Is to meet me, right? Are coming to meet me is telling you about the subject. So it becomes your predicate. Clear? Now, for example, if I say that the cackling of geese, right, saved Rome. The cackling of geese saved Rome. The entire thing is that we are talking about the cackling of geese. So only geese will be my wrong answer. It will be a wrong subject, right? So this becomes your subject, right? So the important thing is that in a sentence, right? So the cackling of geese, basically, if I say, there is a subject where we are talking about that, and saved Rome is my predicate. So this is called the real identification of the subject. Let's come to the first one. In the first one, identify the real subject. The man hurried. Yes, the man is the right answer, right? The man is the doer of the action, right? Who hurried? The man hurried. This is my subject. Coming to the next one, they laughed. So who laughed? They laughed. This is my subject, right? This is my subject. So yeah, all the children were playing. So will I mark only children or all the children? What am I going to mark? If a question comes to your mind, who were playing? Will you say children were playing or all the children were playing? It is all the children, right? Is the correct subject. Yeah. Coming to the next question, the sun shone bright the day. Not only sun, but sun, right? The sun is the correct answer. This is my subject. I think the next question is just a repetition. So sorry for that. It's just a repetition. The sun. Again, the same answer. Moving ahead to the next one. These flowers grow only on mountainside. These flowers. Definitely. That is the correct answer. Moving ahead to the next question. I play soccer and my brother plays cricket. See, I play soccer in this. See, this is a conjunction which is given. So this is my sentence number 1 and this is my sentence number 2. In this sentence, we have subject and predicate. I is a subject for the sentence number 1. So this is my subject number 1. And my brother, right? My brother is the subject for the another sentence. So we have two subjects in the same sentence. I and my brother. Clear to all of you? Be careful when the conjunctions are given in a sentence. You can have 2 or you can have more than 2 subjects in a sentence, right? You can have 2 or you can have more than 2 subjects in a sentence. Clear? So if a conjunction is given. So be very careful with the incomplete answers and all. Coming to the next one, although in a different manner, this word has always existed. This word is the correct answer. This is the thing we are talking about, we are speaking about. So this is my real subject. So it is not necessary that the subject will always come at the starting, right? It is not necessary that it will be always in the beginning. Subject can come anywhere. So we will go by the definition. Of it. So subject is something we are speaking or we are talking about. Moving ahead to the next one. Coffee is a brewed drink. Prepare for this one. Coffee is the right answer. Next one. Get out of here right now is what kind of sentence it is? Declarative, imperative, exclamatory, or interrogative. In some of the in imperative sentence, the subject is missing. get out of here right now. So if I say get out of here right now, to whom I am saying the sentence? Who should get out of here? Who should get out of here? You should get out of here. That's what I'm saying. So this you is implied over here, right? You is implied over here. This is the example of imperative sentence. In the imperative sentences, the subject is implied, right? They will not clearly write a subject over here, but you have to understand. So suppose if I'm saying get out of here right now, right? To whom the statement has been made? To whom the statement has been made? Who should get out of out of here? Who should get out of here? Someone should get out of here. So what is imperative? What is implied is you. So in the imperative sentences, the subjects are not clearly given. It is all implied. So when I say in English, the subject of a command, order, or suggestion, you, the person, is being directed, right? And is usually left on the sentences. So you have to understand from the sentences which are given to you. Here, if I say get out of here, we do not have any subject. It is implied. Even if they ask you to write a sentence, to write a subject, you are going to answer as you, right? If they give you two options, A is this and B is like no subject. Looking at the statement, we know that there is no subject clearly given. But if you have to mark the answer, you are going to mark as a A. If this happens in the exam that they give you two choices to mark, you are going to mark it as to A. We know that the subject is not clearly given, but still we have to mark the answer. I'm going to mark A as to be the answer. This is called imperative. And that's why I have explained you the types of sentences.